we've got 3 dudes in an office. 2 of them are heading out for some brews and they're like, yo, wanna join? To the 3rd guy. But he's all, nah, I gotta stay and finish this work. Poor guy ends up staying super late, complaining about his endless workload and how lonely he feels. Then, as he's finally leaving, he doesn't notice the traffic light turned red and bam, gets hit by a car. Next scene shows a man holding a kid, both of them glowing with this weird blue light. Cut to this kid named Shin hiding in the forest behind some bushes, trying to hunt. His hands start glowing green, and he shoots this magic at some animals. They just drop dead, the kid's jumping around all excited, cause he just bagged 2 chickens and a whole boar. So this boy introduces himself as Shin Wolford, 8 years old, and he uses his magic to make his hunting hall disappear. Shin lives in the forest with his grandpa Merlin Wolford. Get this, Shin actually remembers his past life on Earth in Japan, though he can't recall how he died. When he gets back home, Grandpa Merlin welcomes him back. Turns out Merlin rescued baby Shin from a demon-attacked carriage. Shin makes the animals reappear with magic, and Grandpa's super impressed with his skills. Shin mentions how, unlike his old world, this place has actual magic, and Merlin taught him everything about it. Merlin asks Shin to show off by setting a pile of wood on fire. Shin closes his eyes, visualizes a fireball, and boom, shoots it from his hands. The wood goes up in flames and Merlin's totally blown away. Shin's happy he doesn't have to say all those embarrassing magic spells and incantations to make his magic work. Just then, 2 people come walking up and Shin gets super excited. It's Granny Melida and Mr. Michel. Merlin tells Shin he should learn about magical gear and swordsmanship too, not just magic. Granny Melida starts yelling at Shin for going boar hunting, saying it's way too dangerous. Turns out Granny Melida is a friend of his grandpa and visits them all the time. Shin's like, it's not dangerous for me cause I've got this magical gear we made together. But Granny still thinks an 8-year-old has no business hunting boars. Merlin tries to calm her down, saying Shin's super skilled with magic and knows the forest really well. Meanwhile, Michael, the guy who came with Granny, says he needs to make Shin's combat training even tougher, and Shin's like, no way. Fast forward 2 years. Shin's now 10, and Merlin's taking him demon hunting. Merlin explains that magic is in everything in their world, and all creatures can use it, but they need to control it. If they fail, they turn violent and become demons. Apparently, Merlin once fought someone who turned into a demon and nearly destroyed a whole nation. Dude's still considered a hero there, so they start hunting. And Merlin teaches Shin how to find demons using something called search magic. He says to spread out your magical powers through the forest, and when it touches another magical power, you'll feel it. Merlin warns that it's super hard to do unless you have good magic control. But before he even finishes explaining, Shin's already doing it. Purple light beams shoot out from him across the forest, and Shin's amazed that he can feel everything connected to the magic, even Granny Melida. Merlin's shocked that Shin nailed search magic on his first try. Suddenly, Shin senses this dark, sinister energy in the forest, and Merlin confirms it's a demon. They rush over and see this huge wolf-like creature with red eyes and dark energy all around it. Merlin tries to warn Shin, but before he can finish, Shin's already pulled out his magic sword. His enchanted boots push him forward as he charges the demon, slashes it, and takes it down easy. Merlin's standing there with his jaw dropped. He praises Shin for perfectly defeating the demon, and Shin's pumped that their hunt was successful. When Merlin asks about the magic in his boots and sword, Shin awkwardly dodges the question. That night at dinner, Merlin proudly tells Granny Melida and Michelle how Shin took down a demonized red grizzly all by himself. Granny's amazed at his incredible magic and swordsmanship skills. She's also super impressed with his enchantment skills, saying he knows them in the original language. She wonders if Shin might be from another world. Merlin says it doesn't matter where the boy came from, he's just happy Shin thinks of him as his grandpa. Merlin admits he thinks of Shin as his grandson, and Granny smiles, saying she feels the same way. The next day, Shin collapses after training with Michelle, who's been working him extra hard since the hunt. Merlin shows up and tells Shin they need to talk. Later, sitting under a tree, Merlin sadly confesses that Shin isn't his real grandson and apologizes for not telling him sooner. But Shin's like, yeah, I already knew that. Flashback time! We see how Merlin found Shin. He came across a field where people had been slaughtered by a demon. While helping bury them, he heard a baby crying, rushed over, picked up the baby, and cast a spell to calm it down. Back to the present, Shin interrupts and asks if the red grizzly they killed was the same demon that attacked his parents. Merlin's surprised, and Shin admits he was just hoping it was the same one, so he could have avenged his parents. He asks where his parents were from originally, but Merlin says they were too messed up to identify. Merlin's impressed with how calmly Shin's taking everything. Shin explains it's because he doesn't remember his parents, and besides, he already has Merlin as his grandpa. Merlin blushes at this. Shin adds that he also has Granny, Melida, and Mr. Michelle, so he's never felt lonely. He thanks Merlin for taking him in, which makes Merlin burst into tears while an embarrassed Shin tries to make him stop. 5 years later at Shin's house, there's a bunch of people sitting around a table with Merlin, Granny Melida, Mr. Michel, and 15-year-old Shin. This guy Diziem, who Shin calls Uncle Dis, raises his glass and praises Merlin. They're all celebrating Shin's 15th birthday. He proposes a toast, and everyone raises their glasses. Granny and Merlin talk about how much Shin has grown. Diziem asks what Shin's plans are now that he's an adult. Shin's totally confused, since he's never left the forest before for or made any plans. He says he's thinking about going into town, but when Deuxième asks what else, Shin's still clueless. Two guests at the table, a boy named Siegfried Marquez and a girl named Christina Hayden, jump in. Siegfried asks Shin what he wants to do, and Christina suggests joining the royal order since he learned fighting from Sir Mikkel or becoming a demon hunter. Another guest, a merchant named Tom Haag, tells him about the Demon Hunters Society. Tom explains that demon hunters get rewards for taking down demons. Shin's surprised to learn demon hunting is an actual job. Siegfried suggests Shin could also become a magic gear dealer doing enchantments, then makes some crude comment about girls while winking at Shin. Christina shoots him an annoyed look, and they both glare at each other with sparks flying. Shin is shocked at the realization that he has to earn money and also learn how to use it as an adult. And the merchant, Tom, shouts in utter surprise, realizing that Shin has never gone shopping before. Shin affirms and tells him that he has never gone shopping, which shocks everyone at the table. Granny Melida screams at Merlin as he embarrassingly admits that he forgot to teach Shin common practices, leaving them all in shock. Just then, Shin realizes that he has learned nothing but magic. Merlin says not to worry, as he is sure everything will work out. Okay guys, check this out. They head out to this crazy wilderness magic training ground, and Shin rolls up with his grandpa and the whole squad. Merlin's like, this is one of Shin's original spell spots, and Tom and Granny Melida are totally blown away, giving Shin major props. Merlin explains they're here for a magic demo since it would wreck everything if they did it anywhere else. He tells Shin to go all out, so Shin closes his eyes, focusing hard, and conjures this insane blue flame. Everyone's jaws drop because they've never seen anything like it before. Then Shin makes the flame even bigger and blasts it at this mountain. Boom. The explosion is so massive it knocks everyone back. When the dust clears, the entire mountain is gone. There's just this huge crater where it used to be. Shin turns around to see everyone completely shell-shocked. Granny Melida goes off on Merlin, grabbing him and demanding to know why he never taught Shin to control his power. Merlin tries to defend himself like, the kid learns fast, I just wanted to see what he could do, but Granny ain't having any of it. Shin tries to calm her down, but she turns her fury on him too. Later, they're back at the house around the table. Merlin's worried about sending Shin out into the world after that crazy demonstration. His magic is just too powerful. They all talk it over and agree it's way too dangerous to let Shin loose on society. Then Deuxième suggests enrolling Shin in this magic academy, but Merlin's suspicious that he just wants to use Shin's power. Deuxième swears he won't exploit Shin for military stuff, promising that Shin's like family to him. When Shin asks what a magic academy even is, Deuxième explains it's this special school for gifted magic users in the royal capital. He tells Shin it'll help him figure out what he's missing and meet other kids his age. Merlin asks what Shin thinks, and the kid's totally down for it. Deuxième offers to help with the arrangements, but warns Shin he'll still need to take an entrance exam, since the school runs on merit, not connections. That's when Shin catches Deuxième saying, "My nation," and asks who he really is. Deuxième stands tall and drops the bomb. "I'm Deuxième von Earlshide, King of Earlshide." Shin freaks out, then Christina jumps in like, "Oh yeah, I'm with the royal guard, escorting the king," and Siegfried adds, "I'm a court magician, also here for the king." Shin's mind is blown. He cracks a joke at Siegfried, who gets all mad while Christina laughs, and those two start arguing again. Then Michelle casually mentions he used to be knight commander. Shin can't handle all these revelations. Granny Melida gives Merlin this super annoyed look, realizing he hasn't told Shin anything. Shin asks Deuxième why a king would check on his grandpa, and Deuxième explains that the demon Merlin fought was actually an Earlseed, the first demonoid to appear in the kingdom. Two squads had already been wiped out trying to fight it. The story flashes back to a burning city with young Deuxième. The nation was so desperate they drafted students to fight the demon, and Deuxième, who was just the crown prince then, ignored all warnings and joined the fight. Just as the demon was about to kill him, young Merlin and Melida showed up and saved his life. Back in the present, Deuxième finishes his story, saying how much he looks up to Merlin and Melida. They've been heroes and friends ever since, and he still calls on them sometimes. He asks if Shin will treat him differently now that he knows he's the king. Shin's like, "Nah, you've always just been uncle to me," which makes Deuxième super happy. But Shin's still processing the bombshell that his grandparents were a team. Then Christina drops another shocker. They were more than a team. They were married. Shin's brain basically explodes at this point. Half a month later, Shin's moving to the capital with Merlin and Granny Melida. He asks how big their house is, and Merlin's like, "It was a gift from the country, so probably pretty large." Shin apologizes to Granny for dragging her along, but she says it's fine since she doesn't trust leaving everything to Merlin anyway. When their carriage stops at the capital gate, the guard asks for ID. When Merlin and Melida show theirs, the guard loses it, realizing they're the legendary heroes. A huge crowd rushes over, super excited to meet them. Merlin begs the guard to hurry up, and when the guy asks who Shin is, Merlin introduces him as their grandson. The guard goes nuts. They finally arrive at this massive mansion in the capital. Shin can't believe how huge it is. The door opens to reveal a whole line of staff in uniforms who welcome them super respectfully, calling him Master Shin. The head butler Steve, head maid Marika, and head chef Collar all introduce themselves. Shin's totally stunned by the VIP treatment, though his grandparents seem annoyed by all the fuss. Merlin tells Shin to go explore the town while they get things sorted at the house. Shin's walking around town and buys an apple, super excited about about his first purchase ever. After touring around for a while, he stops at a corner to rest when he hears a girl's voice. He spots 3 guys harassing this girl who's clearly trying to get away from them. Shin steps up and asks the girl if these guys are bothering her. She yells that yes, they definitely are. The 3 dudes turn to Shin and try to act like they're the champions of justice or whatever. Shin calls them out for being creeps who hunt girls. They all charge at him. 2 throw punches, but Shin dodges and takes them down with 1 hit each. The 3rd guy pulls a knife, but Shin flips him to the ground like it's nothing. The girl rushes over to check if Shin's okay, and he says he's fine. Then another girl shows up and thanks Shin for helping. When Shin looks at her, he's completely mesmerized by how beautiful she is. He's so stunned he just screams out that she's beyond cute, totally embarrassing himself. Alright, so after getting saved from those creepy guys, Shin meets up with the girls at a cafe. The one who got surrounded earlier introduces herself as Maria von Messina, and her friend is Sicilian von Claude. Shin tells them his name too. Maria's kinda grumbling that they could have handled those dudes if they could use their magic. When Shin asks if they go to the Magic Academy, Maria explains they're taking the entrance exam soon. Shin's like, hey, me too. Maria's surprised because they thought he was training to be a knight or something. Shin gets all friendly, shaking hands and saying they'll be schoolmates if they pass. Maria grabs his hand and jokes about how she's gonna get the top score, which makes Shin laugh. But when he tries to shake Sicilian's hand, she gets all shy and can't even talk. Maria teases her until Sicilian finally grabs Shin's hand with her eyes closed tight. Maria keeps the convo going and finds out Shin just got to the capital. She gets super excited talking about how the wise man Merlin and Guru Melida are back in town too. Shin's like, yeah, I heard something about that, which makes Maria think he's not interested. She starts fangirling hard about how they defeated the demon and are total national heroes. Shin's getting embarrassed because plot twist, she has no idea she's talking to their grandson. Sicilian notices Shin acting weird and asks if he's okay. Shin just figures Maria must be a huge Merlin and Melita stan, and Maria's like, totally. She even mentions their grandson is taking the entrance exam too, and gushes about how awesome it'll be to go to school with him. Again, completely clueless that she's literally talking to him. Shin pays for their drinks and bounces, even though the girls try to pay for themselves. After he leaves, Maria and Sicilian chat about him. Maria thinks he's super cool, strong, and humble. Sicilian's just nodding along while daydreaming about him. When Maria jokingly asks if she can have Shin for herself, Sicilian snaps back to reality and yells no. Maria laughs and teases her about having a crush. Sicilian admits Shin makes her heart race, and Maria's just like, whoa. Entrance exam day, Shin's surprised by how many students showed up. He's hoping to see Sicilian again and is checking out the board when some rude voice tells him to move. When Shin ignores him, this guy grabs his shoulder. Bad move. Shin flips him and pins his arm behind his back. The dude begs to be let go, and Shin releases him, saying the guy started it. The guy angrily introduces himself as Kurt von Rietzberg, like that's supposed to mean something. Shin doesn't care and just introduces himself too. Everyone watching starts laughing while Kurt yells about being some big shot heir. Before things get worse, another guy steps in and warns Kurt about throwing his authority around, saying it's against royal decree. Kurt immediately backs down, recognizing who this guy is. The new guy introduces himself to Shin as August von Earlshide, or Aug for short. Shin realizes this is Uncle Dis's son and shouts it out, shocking everyone. August thinks it's hilarious that someone would call his dad Uncle Dis, and tells Shin they're basically cousins. They're laughing it up while everyone stares at how casual they're being with each other. Nearby, Maria and Sicilian spot them. Maria wonders why Shin's so buddy-buddy with August, while Sicilian doesn't even know who August is. Maria also notices Kurt and glares at him, not happy he's trying to join their school too. The written exam happens, and then comes the practical part. A female teacher explains they'll be testing their magic skills. Shin's excited to see other kids his age do magic, but when the students start loudly chanting spells and showing off unimpressive magic, Shin's totally embarrassed for them. When it's Shin's turn, the teacher warns him to keep his power under control. He decides to use blue flame magic, and everyone's shocked he can do it without chanting. He sends what he thinks is a tiny blue flame at the target, but it causes a massive explosion that sends everyone flying and covers them in dust. The teacher scolds him, but Shin's like, I was holding back a lot. The teachers decide to make him the top scorer because his magic is so powerful. Next day, the results are posted. Both Shin and August passed. When Shin picks up his uniform, he's told it has defensive magic and he can't mess with it unless his grandma Melita re-enchants it. Shin decides to do it himself instead. The lady also tells him he needs to prepare a speech as the top scorer, which he's not thrilled about. August says it's tradition and can't help him out. Maria's bummed she didn't get top score, while Sicilian gushes about Shin's amazing magic. Maria tries to get Sicilian to talk to Shin, but she's too shy. Meanwhile, Kurt's having a meltdown because he didn't make top class, blaming Shin and swearing revenge. Later, Shin checks out his uniform's enchantment and decides to improve it. Using a pencil eraser, he removes the original spells and adds his own super powerful enchantment. When he celebrates that it worked, Granny Melida bursts in and is shocked by what he's done. On the ceremony day, Melida warns Shin to keep quiet about his uniform. The crowd goes wild when they see Merlin and Melida. Shin's nervous about his speech, and August teases him, making it worse. The new students enter with applause, and Shin learns both Maria and Sicilian Sicilian are nobility, though he has trouble believing Maria is, which annoys her. When the teacher calls Shin by his full name for the speech, Maria and Sicilian are shocked as they finally realize who he really is. Shin delivers an awesome speech while Kurt glares at him with rage. After that, their teacher Alfred Marcus welcomes them all to class. Later on, Maria tells Shin that a man is hounding Sicilian, which makes Shin angry, and he offers to help her. Just then Kurt backs orders at Sicilian, calling her his fiancée. Even though she has refused his advances on several occasions, he continues to threaten her. He tries to grab her, but Shin slaps his hands off. Sicilian trembles in fear as Shin vows to protect her. Kurt threatens to get her father fired, as his father has a higher post, which makes Sicilian tremble with fear. Just then Prince August appears and shouts angrily at Kurt, reprimanding him for trying to use his father's position to threaten others. He threatened to get Kurt's father fired from the finance bureau. Kurt begs him in fear before he is dismissed. Sicilian thanks Prince August for his help. August teases Shin playfully for the way he stood up for Sicilian, leaving Shin and Sicilian feeling embarrassed. Shin warns Sicilian to be careful of Kurt. He then invites the trio to his house, and Maria accepts amidst excitement to meet her idols. Just then, Prince August escorts, Julius von Littenheim and Thor von Flegel, appear and offer to follow him. Now at the house, Shin introduces his classmates to his grandparents, but Maria and the others cannot contain their excitement to meet the two legends. Shin tells his grandparents about Sicilian's situation. He asks for permission to overwrite the enchantment on Sicilian's uniform. Granny Melida warns that the enchantment is a special matter, as Shin's uniform has become a national treasure-grade protective gear, and asks if Sicilian considers herself worthy of it. Sicilian trembles and says she is not worthy to receive it. She immediately confesses that she tried to take advantage of Shin's kindness. Maria and Sicilian apologized for trying to use Shin to solve their problem. Granny Melida is pleased that she told the truth, although Shin looks on confused as he doesn't understand. Granny Melida permits Shin to help Sicilian, and he is delighted as he doesn't mind being used by her. Granny Melida apologized for testing Sicilian, and the both of them hugged each other in tears. Merlin is amazed at how Granny Melida finds out about Sicilian and praises her. He also makes Shin realize that his enchantments are very powerful and important. Everyone stares at Shin in amazement as he overwrites the enchantment on Sicilian's uniform. He warns that the protection doesn't extend to places not covered by the uniform, so she still has to be careful. Deuxième warns Shin not to tell anyone about the enchantment power to avoid conflict with the military. Shin realizes the extent of his ability and regrets it immediately, to Granny Melida and Merlin's delight, as that's the first time he has shown regret. Shin enchants all his friends' uniforms except for Maria, as she refuses. She says she doesn't want to wear such a heavy secret as it's a burden. Sicilian happily thanks Shin for helping her, and he offers to take her home every day. Shin shows his friends his magic gate as he enchants one and leads them to the forest where he grew up. They're all amazed at his teleportation magic, as he continues to explain how it works, but no one understands. He tells Sicilian that he'll have to visit her house to be able to use the gate magic to take her home every day. Maria and the others still find all these revelations confusing. They realize Shin still falls short when it comes to common sense, but he still doesn't get it. So Shin heads out to school, saying peace to his grandparents. He swings by to pick up Sicilian, and on their way to school, he's showing off his search magic skills while she's all thankful about it. At school, Shin bumps into August, who's doing his usual playful teasing. Everyone's chilling in the classroom until teacher Alfred walks in and everyone shuts up real quick. Later, Alfred gives them the grand tour, and August and his escort Julius are talking about joining clubs. Julius is totally geeking out over some body language study group, so August is like, "Go for it, dude," and Julius is so pumped, Shin can't make up his mind about clubs, so August suggests he just make his own, and Alfred is down with that idea. Then these students, Lynn, Alice, Yuri, and Tony, are super hyped about joining Shin's club. Alfred explains the whole club starting process and offers to be their advisor. Sicilian wants in on this action too. Everyone starts throwing out ideas. Alice wants a club about Merlin and Melida, but Alfred says that already exists. Lynn suggests they call it the Ultimate Magic Study Group, where they practice magic with Shin teaching them. Everyone thinks it's awesome, but Shin's like, "Are you guys serious with this name?" Nobody listens to him though, and Alfred sends them back to class. Meanwhile, King Deuxième is having this serious convo about demons popping up more in the kingdom. This guy Dominic Gaster thinks someone might be behind it, since the demons are spreading in a way that's not drawing attention. Deuxième agrees they should investigate, and tells Dominic to use the Demon Hunters Society for the job. And that night at the Rietsburg estate, Kurt's dad is totally losing it, screaming at Kurt because the king summoned him over Kurt's power trip at school. Kurt's being super disrespectful, even smacking his dad's hand away and calling himself special, while his dad just stares in shock. Kurt's eyes get all creepy looking, as he blames Shin for everything. His dad gets fed up, knocks him to the ground, and tells the guards to lock him in his room. The next day at school, August tells everyone that Kurt's grounded at home. Shin asks why Kurt's such a jerk, and Thor explains he wasn't always like that. He changed after starting to hang out at Mr. Strom's lab. This Strom dude transferred to the academy, claiming he was exiled from the Empire. August mentions they all thought Strom was sketchy from the start, so they stayed away even when he invited them to his lab. Thor points out how Strom might be blind since he has patches covering both eyes, but uses some special magic to sense things around him. Shin's getting suspicious about this whole situation. Mr. Strom visits Kurt at the Reitzberg estate. Kurt's mom welcomes him, worried sick about her son and crying about it. She doesn't notice Strom's evil little smirk as she begs him to help Kurt. Not knowing he's actually the cause of the problem, Strom goes to Kurt's room, finds him lying there all miserable, and mocks him. Then he starts using his dark power to hypnotize and brainwash Kurt, whose eyes turn blood red like he's in a trance. Strom leaves feeling super satisfied with his wickedness. Later in the school cafeteria, August tells Shin he doesn't need to be Sicilian's escort anymore since Kurt's grounded. Sicilian looks disappointed, but Shin offers to keep walking her to school every day anyway, and she's totally excited about that. August teases them both, and they get all embarrassed. August mentions it's good that Shin walks the girls home for safety, and Shin's like, no worries, I can detect anyone with my search magic. They don't believe him, so Shin brings up demon hunting and search magic. Thor is still skeptical, so Shin asks if he's ever hunted a demon before. Thor says no, and Shin explains what demon magic feels like. When Lin asks if Shin has hunted demons, he casually drops that he killed a grizzly red demon when he was just 10 years old, and everyone freaks out. Later, Shin and his friends are walking from class talking about study groups when suddenly Shin senses some dark power nearby. He turns around and sees Kurt surrounded by fire and negative energy. Kurt attacks them with a fireball, but Shin quickly shields his friends with magic. He tells August and Sicilian to channel magic through their uniforms to help him. They put out the fire, but Sicilian notices Shin's hand got burned. He tells her not to worry, and his auto-healing spell kicks in. They realize Kurt is legit trying to kill them. Kurt starts bursting into purple flames, and Shin and August notice he's not in control. Kurt transforms into this ugly creature with dark red eyes. He's turning into a demon with sinister red energy surrounding him. Shin tells August to get everyone out while he handles Kurt alone, but August refuses. Shin insists they'll just get in his way. Sicilian doesn't want to leave Shin, but Maria drags her away. August goes to get help while Shin faces off with Demon Kurt. Kurt charges at Shin, but Shin hits him with a blue flame attack that knocks Kurt down. Kurt stands back up and calls out to Shin, which shocks Shin because according to his grandpa Merlin, demonoids aren't supposed to be able to talk. Kurt tries to kill Shin, but Shin strikes him with lightning. Shin realizes Kurt hasn't fully demonized yet and thinks he might be able to stop the process by controlling Kurt's magic. But then Kurt starts gathering power for an explosion big enough to destroy the whole school. Shin realizes he has no choice. He has to kill Kurt to stop him. He charges with his sword and beheads Kurt. Shin feels terrible about it since he's never had to kill a person before. His friends rush over to check on him, still in shock that he actually killed a demonoid. Shin just stands there wondering if there was any other way he could have saved Kurt. So Mr. Strom is up on the school rooftop feeling all smug about his experiment. Shin's wondering if becoming a demon is easy, but Thor drops the knowledge bomb that only super skilled magicians can pull that off. Then Shin hits everyone with a shocker. Kurt's transformation was probably artificial. Everyone's minds are blown, so Shin, Maria, Sicilian, August, and his bodyguards head back to Shin's place where, surprise surprise, they find King Diziem chatting with Shin's grandparents. The king's guard salutes Shin and tells him he's getting the first order of merit. While Shin and the squad are hyped, Grandpa Merlin and Granny Melida are not feeling it. They remind Diziem about his promise not to use Shin for political games. Diziem explains that news about the demon's appearance and takedown is already all over the kingdom. He promises the award is legit, just like when Merlin and Melida got theirs for slaying demons. He swears he won't let anyone exploit Shin. Merlin's like, fine, but if you break this promise, we're out of this kingdom faster than you can say oops. Diziem bows, and Merlin tells him kings shouldn't be so quick to bow. Granny's still worried Shin's gonna get caught up in some mess. Next morning, Shin's walking Sicilian and Maria to school, and people are pointing and whispering about him. 3 girls nearby are gossiping about which girl might be Shin's fiancé, and Sicilian turns tomato red with pride. Shin apologizes for all the attention, but Sicilian's totally cool with it, which makes Shin super happy. Meanwhile, students are swarming teacher Alfred, begging to join Shin's club. Alfred's not making it easy though. He's setting the bar crazy high with entrance exams and dimensional space magic requirements. And over at the round table, King Diziem is talking demon business with Dominic and Security Bureau Chief Dennis Willard. He drops the bomb that the demon was artificially created and tells them to team up on the investigation. Back at Shin's club, teacher Alfred introduces 2 newbies, Mark Bean and Olivia Stone. Olivia's family owns a bakery and invites everyone over, while Mark's family makes weapons. Shin's interested in getting Mark to forge him a sword, but Mark admits he's still learning. Mark's impressed by Shin's blade, but Shin explains it's his magic that makes it special, not the blade itself. Mark offers to try making him a better one. When Shin offers to ask Granny to help Yuri with her magic, Yuri grabs his hand in excitement, making Sicilian super jealous. At the Reitzberg estate, Security Bureau investigators Alt Leakerman and Carlos Bale are checking things out. They heard Kurt had a teacher visit before going full demon, so they're tracking that lead to Strom's room. Alt notices Strom's sensory magic and asks about his eye. Strom spins a sob story about being from a noble family where someone tried to kill him, but only damaged his eyes. Alt buys it, and even offers him a position studying Kurt's demonized body. Strom's like, sure thing. Later, Shin and the gang are in the cafeteria, with Shin stressing about his sword. He wants a thin blade, but but worries about durability. Alice suggests just buying a new one if it breaks, but Shin's like, my allowance won't cover that. Tony comes up with a killer idea that Mark loves, so they plan to hit up Mark's workshop. Maria decides to check out Olivia's bakery instead. Meanwhile, the investigators bring Strom to the parade grounds and lead him underground. Surprise! It's a trap! Armed guards surround him. Holt reveals Strom slipped up by mentioning Kurt's name even though it was never made public. Strom just laughs like a supervillain and admits he's been experimenting on people. Just then, Shin and friends are walking when boom, the walls explode. They rush in to find Strom standing over Alt's body. Alt tells August that Strom's the bad guy and to run. Strom's bragging about turning Kurt into a demon when Shin draws his sword and charges. Strom's surprised by Shin's strength, and when Shin throws lightning at him, Strom floats into the air, shocking Shin. Shin uses his magic boots to jump up and slashes Strom with his sword, then hits him with blue flames. Strom gets pissed and creates a massive explosion that knocks Shin down. During the chaos, Strom's eye patch breaks, revealing red eyes. He's a demonoid with his mind intact. Shin's shocked but attacks again. Strom thinks he's winning until Shin surprises him with heat rays that burn him as he screams and vanishes. Two dudes walk in. Dominic introduces one as Rupert Olgren, captain of the court magic division. Rupert asks how Shin did that crazy magic, and Shin explains he just used sunlight to create heat rays. Everyone's blown away. Shin tries to explain the science behind it, but nobody gets it. Classic Shin. He's still suspicious though, thinking Strom might not really be defeated. After Maria uses the bathroom at Shin's place, Granny Melida pulls her aside to get the tea on Shin and Sicilian's relationship. Maria spills that they're totally into each other, but neither one's confessing, so they're not officially dating yet. While watching them chat, Maria mentions that Shin might be Sicilian's first love. As the gang heads to Mark's dad's store, Beanworks, Shin's totally zoned out thinking about Strom. He tells August he thinks Strom faked his death in that explosion and might still be alive. August gets super worried and tells Shin to grab whatever weapon he needs. The royal family's covering it since Shin's the only one who can take Strom down. At the shop, Mark welcomes them, and they spot Olivia there super early. The girls drag her away, giggling and ready to gossip. Mark calls for his dad, Harold Bean, who starts yelling until August drops the bomb that he's the prince. Everyone's freaking out, bowing down, and then August introduces Shin as the wise man's grandson. Double shock! Harold's pumped to forge a weapon for a hero. Meanwhile, at the Bluesphere Empire's castle, Emperor Harold is plotting to attack Earlshide. This dude named Zest tells him about demons appearing in Earlshide, and the Emperor just laughs like a total villain. He thinks this is his chance to take over Earlshide and walks off after being super mean to Zest. Back at Beanworks, Shin explains what he needs for his weapon. As they're leaving, he offers to buy Sicilian some accessories. She gets all excited thinking it's a romantic gift, but Shin clarifies he meant defensive magic accessories. Talk about awkward! Everyone sees how embarrassed she is except clueless Shin, who finally catches on and apologizes. When they check out the accessories, Sicilian asks Shin to pick something, and he chooses this gorgeous ring. The way he puts it on her finger has her feeling all the feels. He holds her hand and promises the ring will keep her safe, making her blush hard. On the day of Shin's award ceremony at the royal castle, he's crazy nervous. When the doors open and his name gets announced, the crowd goes wild. Shin's totally caught off guard. He had no idea it was such a big deal. He kneels before King Diziem, who praises him for killing the demon and gives him a medal. Then the king starts explaining his connection to Merlin and Shin, revealing a promise he made with Merlin that leaves Shin completely shocked. Next day, Shin, Maria, and Sicilian try to leave his house, but open the door to find a massive crowd of fans. Shin slams the door shut and uses gate magic to get them to school instead, nearly crashing into Yuri's chest. Tony and Lin are amazed by the gate magic, and Shin explains it's actually relocation magic, not teleportation. He offers to teach them how it works. In their study room, Shin tells everyone they need to level up their abilities. He wants to check how much magic power they can control, and asks Maria to build a protective barrier. Her barrier's too weak, so he asks Sicilian to activate hers using the ring he gave her. She creates 2 layers of barriers, impressing everyone. Shin explains how Strom used defensive magic to block his attack. To show them what they're aiming for, Shin demonstrates a portion of his magic power. A beam of purple light explodes around them, leaving them completely in awe. They all agree to practice magic control every day like their lives depend on it. Over at the Bluesphere Empire, turns out Strom is alive and recovering. He sent Zest to spy on Earlshide. This woman named Miria tells him the Bluesphere Empire is secretly preparing for war, and Strom's evil plan is totally working. Shin and the crew use gate magic to get back to his house, where they find Merlin and Granny Melida. The girls freak out with excitement. Merlin laughs when Shin explains about using gate magic to avoid the crowds, saying the hype will die down soon. When the students mention they're learning from Shin, they ask if Merlin taught him magic. Merlin explains that Shin visualizes magic differently, focusing on both the process and outcome. Merlin shows off his own gate magic, surprising Shin, and admits he learned it from Shin's drawings. He encourages everyone, saying if they work hard, they might be able to do some of Shin's magic too. And that night, Granny Melida praises Merlin for learning gate magic just so Shin wouldn't feel like an outsider around his friends. Next morning at school, everyone finds Lin covered in bandages from trying to control her magic. They worry she destroyed everything, but she explains her dad's a court magician with a practice room at home. Shin calls her the unbridled magical girl, which makes her super excited. Later, Shin visits Beanworks, where Harold shows him the weapon prototype, a sword with a detachable blade that was Tony's idea. Shin brings accessories for his friends as gifts, promising to enchant them with defensive magic. When August suggests mass-producing the sword for the military, Shin says he needs Tony's approval since it was his idea. August mentions he's worried war with the Blue Sphere Empire might be coming, making Thor and the others nervous they'll be drafted. August tries reassuring them and says they won't force Shin to fight, but Shin firmly declares that if any of his friends are in danger, he'll fight to protect them, making everyone feel better. At the Blue Sphere Empire base camp, where Emperor Harold is straight up losing it in his tent, breaking stuff left and right. So basically, Blusphia went to war with Earlshide because Zest fed them some intel about demons running wild there. They thought Earlshide would be busy fighting demons, but nope, Earlshide's army showed up and totally wrecked them. Now the Emperor's furious, thinking Zest played them like a fiddle. But check this out, a messenger busts in saying demons are attacking their capital. Emperor's like, forget this, take our troops and head back home to deal with that mess. Meanwhile, at Earlshide's camp, Rupert and Dominic are talking about how the Blue Sphere Imperial Army is bouncing when they get word that demons are blocking their pursuit. Rupert's like, seems like these demons are actually helping Blusphia escape. Back at the Blue Sphere capital, it's total chaos. Giant demon creatures are tearing through the city, slaughtering everyone. And who's just casually strolling through this nightmare? Strom and Miria. This dude, Strom, looks super pleased with himself. Turns out he orchestrated this whole thing to take over Blusphia. He already turned Miria into a demonoid, and she's loving her new demonic power-up. Strom's just spilling all the tea about his future plans for the Imperial Army. And a few days later, Emperor Harold finally makes it back to his castle, raging about the demons destroying his capital. His men try to reassure him that the soldiers are handling it, but he goes ballistic, demanding they fix everything before sundown. The moment his guards leave, plot twist, the Emperor sees Strom chilling on his throne. The Emperor freaks out as Strom locks the door and blasts him to bits with a single magical explosion. 3 days after that, Rupert and Dominic are walking through what's left of Bluesphia's capital. The place is completely wrecked, no survivors in sight. Dominic explains that demons attacked the city, and when the Imperial Army returned, they got wiped out too. Suddenly, they hear a creepy voice in the fog. It's Strom! This villain is straight up bragging about causing all this destruction, and thanks them for weakening the Imperial Army, making his attack on the capital a cakewalk. Dominic and Rupert are horrified when they discover Strom turned all the city's survivors into demonoids. Several days later at Earlshide Castle, Dominic's giving King Diziem and his cabinet the full rundown of their escape, and they're all scrambling to come up with a plan to take down Strom. Back at the academy, Alfred fills the students in on the war and announces they'll be doing joint training with the Night Training School to prepare for the worst. After class, everyone huddles up to talk about the news. Shin notices his friends looking super worried, and they admit the Night Training School students always bully and trash talk them. Maria's convinced magicians are way better than knights, and Shin tries to chill everyone out, but they're like, easy for you to say you're good at both magic and swords. When Shin mentions he was trained by Michel, everyone's minds are blown. Thor explains that Michel is called the Sword Saint. Literally no one's better with a sword than Michel calling. They figure the knight students are probably just jealous of Shin. Later that day outside the capital gates, students are split into groups. Shin and his crew are chatting when some knights spot him from a distance and start yelling insults. Shin, Sicilian, August, and Maria get teamed up with 4 knights from the Knight Military Institute. Top seat Chryse Lloyd, second seat Miranda Wallace, plus Noon Curtis and Kent McGregor. Shin asks if any of them have ever killed a demon before, and they flip out, calling him a show-off. Shin's just trying to get everyone to work together, but the knights keep coming at him until August steps in. August is totally disappointed in them for not being team players and calls them out. He tells Shin to sit this demon hunt out, saying the knights will handle it without any magician help. They all agree and bow their heads, looking super awkward. Deep in the forest, the 8 of them are waiting for their advisor when August mentions they were sent to a higher risk area because of their skills, meaning more chances to run into demons. Suddenly someone calls Shin's name. It's the king's escorts, Siegfried and Christina. Shin begs them to play nice, but they instantly start arguing like they always do. All the girls immediately swarm Siegfried while the guys rush over to Christina. Sicilian tells Shin that these advisors are super popular at school. They all head deeper into the forest hunting for demons, while August informs the advisors that the knights insisted on hunting alone to prove themselves. Siegfried and Christina agree it'll be a good learning experience. August isn't sure if Maria gets the point of the exercise since she hates knights so much, but Maria assures him she understands. Siegfried flirts with Maria, making her blush, and Shin feels secondhand embarrassment. And Shin detects a demon nearby, and Siegfried alerts the knights to get ready. A boar demon appears, and the knights charge in, but get completely wrecked in seconds. As the demon charges again, Shin whips out his sword and beheads it with one clean strike. Christina tears into the knights for all that big talk earlier and tells them this was literally the weakest type of demon. They're totally embarrassed as Sicilian comes over to heal them, which surprises them all. Noon, Chryse, and Kent start fawning over Sicilian, making Shin super jealous while August teases teases him about it. Maria and Miranda are jealous too, wondering why the boys don't treat them the same way. Siegfried suddenly calls everyone's attention as a whole. Herd of demons approaches. Two students run up to them, totally out of breath, warning that hundreds of demons are coming. Shin offers to handle them solo, so Siegfried tells everyone to get behind Shin. As the demon herd charges, Shin prepares himself while everyone else freaks out, seeing a tiger demon which is super strong. Shin visualizes his attack and boom, he blasts the entire herd with blue flames, killing them all in one shot. Everyone's standing there with their jaws on the floor, especially the knights. Miranda comes over to apologize to Shin for how she acted before and casually calls him Sicilian's boyfriend, thinking they were dating. This makes both Shin and Sicilian turn bright red and stammer in confusion. The boys who were hitting on Sicilian earlier suddenly realize there's something going on between those two, so our heroes keep pushing deeper into that spooky forest for training, and bam, they run into this massive bear demon right away. But check this out, the magicians and knights actually work together like total pros and take that thing down no sweat, and Shin's looking out for Miranda the whole time, throwing up this sweet protective barrier around her during the fight. After they smoke that demon, Sicilian steps up offering to heal everyone with her restoration magic. Siegfried and Christina are all proud seeing the squad finally clicking. Siegfried can't believe how much better all the magicians have gotten, and when Shin mentions his little magic club where he teaches everyone, Siegfried's like, "Yo, can I join?" Shin's down, but August jumps in with the buzzkill move, telling Siegfried he can't join since he's military. They can't let Shin's crazy magic skills reach the army because it could cause some major diplomatic drama. August is super worried that if other kingdoms find out about Shin's powers, it could trigger a full-on war. Shin's confused why teaching magic would cause problems, but August is like, "Look, I've already warned everyone about showing off their magic," and makes Shin promise not to spread his techniques beyond their study group. Siegfried's curious about how Merlin does his magic, so August calls over Sicilian and Maria to show off their magic control. They focus hard and create this thick magic barrier that blows Siegfried's mind. But then Maria casually drops that their barrier is actually way thinner than Shin's, leaving Siegfried completely shook. Classic Siegfried starts sweet-talking Maria, making her blush like crazy. As they wrap up training and head back to the gateway of the capital, Miranda comes over to thank Shin for saving her during that bear demon attack. Meanwhile, Shin's wondering how his other friends are doing with their training. Cutting to Mark, Tony, Julius, and Olivia with their team. Things aren't looking good. They're struggling big time working with the knights. Turns out Tony and this knight named Julio have some bad blood from the past. When a demon attacks, the knights try to handle it alone and almost get squashed, but Tony and the magicians save the day. Still, nobody's getting along. Same deal with Alice, Lin, Yuri, and Thor's team, total disaster. Knights keep talking down to them until a demon attacks and the knights fail miserably. The magicians save everyone, but Lin loses control and accidentally blows up everything around them. Yikes. Back at the gateway, Shin asks everyone how training went, and they're all like, "Completely awful, those knights are impossible." When Olivia asks about Shin's team, Maria and August start teasing him and Sicilian about their little moment in the forest. Maria admits they actually had a decent time since Shin was so helpful. Shin's feeling down, worried he's messed up his friends' lives by teaching them such powerful magic. August drops the bomb that after graduation, they'll all be put under special supervision because of their enhanced abilities. Shin apologizes, but his friends assure him they're actually happy their futures are secure. August and Sicilian try cheering him up, and everyone begs Shin to keep training them with August, offering to keep things under control. A few days later, Shin takes everyone out to the wilderness to continue their training. August gathers them around for a serious talk. They're no longer ordinary people, so he's going to share some state secrets. He tells them about the demonoids taking over the empire and slaughtering everything in sight. The demon population keeps growing as humans get turned into monsters, just like Kurt. Shin's wondering what Strom's planning next. Shin suggests they need to level up their magic skills with a training camp, which gets everyone pumped. They decide Sicilian's family hot spring area would be perfect. Later that night, Shin tells his grandparents about the camp. They think it's a great idea, but Granny Melida's not feeling the whole boys and girls with no supervision thing, so she and Merlin volunteer to tag along. When school break hits, they all head out for camp, thanking Granny Melida and Merlin for joining. On the way, everyone's talking about Granny's younger days when she made these cool enchanted accessories for everyday stuff. Everyone's praising her while Shin's like, "That doesn't sound like the Granny I know." Shin and Merlin start playfully teasing her. Later, Shin senses some demon energy nearby, so they pull over and decide to handle it. Everyone wants a piece of the action, so they draw straws to keep it fair. Lin wins and faces off against a dozen wolf deems, then totally obliterates them with a single attack. Everyone's jaws drop at how powerful she's become. By nightfall, they reach Claude, this awesome hot spring town. Sicilian leads them to her family manor where the servants welcome them warmly, maybe too warmly, as they start talking about Shin and Sicilian having a happy life together, embarrassing them both completely. In that evening in the men's bath, Merlin thanks the guys for being Shin's friends. August thanks Shin for treating him like a cousin instead of a prince. They all tell Merlin that Shin's the one who changed their lives for the better. Shin gets emotional thanking Merlin for raising him. Meanwhile, in the women's bath, the girls are comparing bodies. Maria and Alice are fishing for secrets to get curves like the others. Granny Melida starts teasing them about about having smaller chests than Sicilian, Yuri, and Olivia. They keep fooling around and chatting about Shin's inventions. Granny thanks the girls for being friends with Shin, but they're like, "We're the lucky ones, he protects us and teaches us magic." Granny's touched and announces she and Merlin will also be training them, which gets the girls super hyped. So the next morning, Merlin's giving everyone coaching on their magic control, throwing out tips left and right, and of course, Lin loses control again. Classic Lin. Granny Melida jumps in, teaching them about magic gear enchantment too. Shin's feeling pretty good about how camp's going. He's even teaching magic himself under Merlin and Granny's watchful eyes. Shin knows he needs to level up his own powers if he wants any shot at taking down Strom. When he's about to try this new spell, Messina's like, "Everyone put up your barriers." Shin tries telling them they'll be fine without it, but nobody's buying it. Smart move, because Shin hits them with this super focused blue flame that literally blasts a massive crater into the ground. Everyone's standing there jaw-dropped as usual. Granny Melida smacks him upside the head for being so reckless with that crazy power. After they finish talking about Shin's boosted magic and Maria calls him out for being reckless, again, they head back to the manor. August pulls Shin aside asking for a gate magic lift to the castle to grab some demonoid intel. But guess who they run into? Ellie, August's fiancée. Shin had no clue August was engaged. Ellie introduces herself all proper. Elisabeth von Coralli, second daughter of Duke Coralli and Prince August's fiancée. August is like, "Why are you even here?" And they start bickering because she's ticked he left her and May behind to go camping. Then this younger girl, May, shows up screaming at August about ditching her when she's such a huge Melida fan. May notices Shin and introduces herself as August's little sister. Shin tells her to just treat him casually like a big brother, and they hit it off right away. The girls inform August they're joining camp. Whether he likes it or not, they even got the king's permission. August is totally against it, but what can he do? Back at camp, August warns them to stay safe and not mess with practice. Ellie's annoyed that August spends all his time with Shin these days. Shin's like, "Whoa, nothing's going on between us." August sweetly reassures her, saying he's just comfortable with Shin because Shin treats him like a normal cousin, not royalty. Then August drops this bomb. Besides, Shin likes Sicilian. He's pushing Shin to ask her out instead of wasting time. Shin admits he wants to, but isn't sure about Sicilian's feelings. August guarantees she's into him, but Shin's still worried about rejection. August tells him to grow a spine and make a move already. Back at the manor, they introduce Ellie and May to everyone. Ellie mentions they were just talking about Sicilian, and May calls them a cute couple, making both Shin and Sicilian blush like crazy. When Granny Melida meets May, she's thrilled to meet a fan. They all start teasing Shin, and Sicilian accidentally blurts out she'd love to have Shin's children. Talk about awkward. She runs out totally embarrassed. Now Shin realizes she really does like him. August gives him a push, and Shin follows her outside. After some nervous small talk and awkward silence, Shin finally confesses his feelings. Sicilian says she loves him too, and he asks her to be his girlfriend. She says yes. Just as they're about to kiss, everyone falls out from their hiding spots. The whole crew was spying on them. Cue more teasing from literally everyone, especially August. Next morning, they're at the beach practicing. Shin gives them this magic ball he invented, and they form teams, passing it using only magic. Things get super competitive. Then Lin loses control, shocker, and sends a flaming ball straight at Ellie and May. Merlin dashes in for the save, and Granny Melida goes ballistic on them. Lin and Alice apologize while Merlin lectures them on magic control before sending them back to practice. Later at the manor, everyone's hanging out talking about their pasts. Turns out they all met as 5-year-olds at this noble kids party, while Shin was out hunting in the forest at the same age. Wild child much. August and Ellie share how they met little 5-year-old Ellie totally rejected the prince because she wasn't interested. Back in the present, August keeps telling his love story while Maria, Alice, and Lin complain they've never been in love. They ask Yuri if she's dated boys before, but she just gives them this mysterious smile. When they hear Granny Melida coming, everyone hides. She bursts in yelling about bedtime but finds the room empty. Meanwhile, Shin and Sicilian are hiding together under the sheets when suddenly, Sicilian moans uncomfortably. Shin thinks he's too heavy on her, but then realizes, oh no, he accidentally grabbed her chest. He jumps up in shock, lifting the covers. Granny Melida sees this, completely misunderstands, and flips out. Everyone starts teasing the couple again, while Granny Melida just keeps yelling at them all. Last night, Shin couldn't sleep at all, because he kept thinking about what went down with Sicilian under the covers. Then he runs into her and they just stare at each other for a hot second before awkwardly saying hi. Sicilian tells Shin he needs to come with her to get her parents' approval. They zap over to the Clover estate using some sweet gate magic. Sicilian's all, sorry for making you meet my parents so early, but Shin's like, nah, it's actually a good move. They head inside and Shin meets her dad Cecil von Claude and mom Eileen von Claude. Even though he's nervous af, Shin mans up and tells them straight up that he wants their blessing to date Sicilian. Plot twist, Cecil grabs Shin's hands super excited and thanks him for choosing his daughter. Eileen's way more chill though and tells her husband to take a seat. She drops the bomb that since Sicilian is a Viscount's daughter, even though she's their third, she can't just date, she's gotta be engaged. Eileen asks Shin how he feels about marriage, and this dude doesn't even hesitate. He's like, I'm ready to marry Sicilian right now. Eileen congratulates Sicilian on making her dreams come true. Later, the squad's practicing magic, literally blowing up mountains in the wilderness. Ellie's totally shocked, and Shin's just like, we're only warming up by the way. Merlin asks if Ellie and May want to join the practice, but Ellie's like hard pass, while May is super pumped to try. Merlin starts teaching her basic magic control, and she's so good at it that everyone's mind is blown. Seeing this, Lynn gets all competitive, tries to control her magic, but fails epically and gets caught in her own explosion. Granny Melida laughs and roasts Alice and Lynn about their flat chests. They glare at May, who runs to hide behind Shin, while August teases her about taking Shin's side. Meanwhile, in the imperial capital of Bluesphere, Strom's chilling on the throne asking his minion Miria about their evil plans. She tells him the demons have been attacking caravans, causing food shortages in Empire cities, and making everyone super unhappy. Strom's loving how everything's falling apart. Back in the wilderness, Shin's about to try some new magic. Everyone's freaking out, putting up magic barriers just in case. Shin's like, guys, chill, it's not dangerous this time. They don't believe him and make their barriers even higher. After some arguing, they finally lower their shields. Shin picks up a stone, does some crazy magic control, and makes it float in midair. Everyone's absolutely stunned. He calls it floating magic and tries to explain how it works, but as usual, no one understands his tech talk. Then he uses the magic on himself and starts floating. He adds some wind magic and straight up flies around. Everyone's just standing there, completely shocked. Shin's pumped about his experiment and says he came up with it to fight Strom. And Sicilians all praise, and May begs him to teach her, but Maria shuts that down real quick, pointing out that May can't fly in a dress unless she wants to show everyone her underwear. That night, Sicilian joins Shin when he tells his grandparents about their engagement. Granny Melida says they need to talk to Sicilian's parents before making it public, and asks Sicilian to take them to meet the Clodes. Granny feels they should come clean about Shin's mysterious origins. At the Clode estate, they're welcomed warmly. Granny and Merlin spill the beans about how they found Shin, and that he's not actually their blood relative. She says she'd understand if they want to call off the engagement. Cecil's response? The reason they approved was because of who Shin is as a person, not his background. He says it's because Shin values Sicilian and always protects her. Granny apologizes for misunderstanding. Sicilian professes her love for Shin, and Shin thanks everyone, promising to always take care of Sicilian. The next day, the team's getting fitted with their enchanted combat uniforms from Shin. He explains all the cool enchantments and drops the bomb that they're about to fight, a catastrophic class demon. They don't think they're ready, but Shin assures them they totally are, especially with the new gear. Just then, Ellie walks in with May, who's having a full-on tantrum because she wants to join the mission. Shin gives her one of his inventions, a communication device to keep her occupied. Everyone thinks it's awesome, but Granny scolds Shin for creating tech that could cause international conflict. The squad heads out and soon feels the presence of a catastrophic class demon, a massive lion creature. Shin lays out the battle plan and pats Sicilian on the head for her input, making her blush. He picks Julius, Yuri, Mark, Sicilian, and Olivia to fight first. August is worried since they're better at support than attacking, but Shin's confident in his long-range strategy against the slow-moving demon. The 5 of them completely destroy the demon without a trace. They can't believe they pulled it off. Then Shin tells the other 6, Tony, Thor, Alice, Lynn, Maria, and August, to each take down a catastrophic demon solo. They all find demons and one-shot them like it's nothing. After training, everyone's hyping each other up, especially Tony for how he used Shin's vibration sword. Shin's super proud of his team. August starts teasing Shin about his upcoming engagement party with Sicilian. That evening, Shin's getting dressed for the party when the door opens and Sicilian walks in looking absolutely stunning. Shin's completely mesmerized. They compliment each other and get lost in each other's eyes until Eileen interrupts, saying it's ceremony time. Shin and Sicilian walk down the aisle hand in hand while everyone cheers them on. King Diziem officiates the ceremony and proposes a toast as everyone raises their glasses to the happy couple. The next morning, the team goes back into the wilderness to continue training. They fly around merrily as May, Ellie, and Shin watch them. Shin enchanted their uniforms with floating magic because they couldn't do it themselves. They were only able to control their wind magic to move around with Shin's floating magic. As Shin watches them proudly, May tells him she would like to fly also. She raises her dress and reveals the shorts under the dress, saying she is ready to fly. Ellie is livid and tells her to put her dress down and stop behaving unladylike. Shin calls them back down using another upgraded communication invention of his. They all pause for a second as they talk about August's investiture ceremony coming up soon. Okay guys, so back at the Imperial Castle, Strom is chatting with his minions, Miria and Zest. They tell him the last town in the Empire has fallen. What Strom did was super messed up. He made Zest and the demonoids cut off food to regular people while letting all the rich nobles eat whatever they wanted. This made everyone super angry, and when the starving people rose up, Strom turned them into demons and had them massacre all the rich nobles. Miria seems concerned and wonders why Strom hates nobles so much. Later in the Imperial throne room, Strom gathers all the demonoids and thanks them for helping take down the Empire. Then he drops a bombshell. He tells them that overthrowing the Empire was his only goal, and now that he's done it, he doesn't want anything else. The demonoids are totally furious and tell him they need to keep going until they conquer the whole world, but Strom's just like, nah, that's too much work, and tells them they're free to bounce and do whatever. Most of the demonoids storm out, and Strom tells Zest to just let them go. That's when Miria asks asks Strom about why he hates the Empire so much, and he starts telling his backstory. 2 years ago, in the territory of Stradius, Strom was actually a dude named Oliveira von Stradius, a super nice guy who worked on farms with his people and lived like a regular person. And his town was booming because he was so kind to commoners, which made tons of people move there. Oliveira treated common folks well, because when he was a kid, he grew up seeing powerless people having nothing while nobles had everything. But then he visited the kingdom of Earlseed, where there wasn't any slavery, and everyone lived pretty good lives, which made him realize that's how the Empire should be. Oliveira was living his best life at Stradius Ducal Palace with his pregnant wife Arya, and they were super happy. But at Richmond Ducal Palace, some evil dudes like Harold von Richmond, who later became Emperor of Blusphia, were plotting with other nobles to take Oliveira down. They set a trap using policy reforms to lure him to the capital. When Oliveira got a letter saying they wanted to learn from him about treating commoners better, he happily agreed to meet them, even though his wife was worried. While Oliveira was away, women started disappearing in Stradius territory. These evil nobles sent a fake policeman to spread rumors that Oliveira was behind it all and was selling commoners as slaves. And the rumors spread crazy fast. After 2 months in the capital, Oliveira decided to head home, so Harold decided they needed to finish their plan before he got back. The fake cop called on some commoners to help catch the kidnapper, staging a fake kidnapping with Oliveira's family crest on the wagon carrying the kidnapped women. When news spread that victims were found in Oliveira's wagon, the commoners went ballistic. Not knowing they were being played, they marched to Stradius Ducal Palace, set it on fire, and killed Arya, Oliveira's wife. When Oliveira came home and found his wife dead and his house burning, he asked the mob what happened. After they told him everything, Oliveira pointed out that real police would never ask regular people to help make arrests, and he'd never be dumb enough to put kidnapped people in a wagon with his name on it. The mob suddenly realized they'd been tricked and begged for forgiveness, but it was way too late. Oliveira lost control and started turning into a demon. He created a massive explosion that completely obliterated the town and swore to destroy the Empire, nobles, and all commoners for what they did. Back in the present, after hearing Strom's story, Zest and a young man named Lawrence discuss it. Lawrence says what Strom did to the Empire makes sense, and Zest tells him they need to find a new goal for Strom. He tells Lawrence to go undercover with the demons who left and make them attack the kingdom of Swede, which is close to Earlsheed's borders. The plan is if demons appear in Swede, Shin Wolford will show up, and that might give Strom a new purpose. Lawrence promises to draw Shin out. Meanwhile in Earlsheed, it's Prince August's big day becoming crown prince. He walks out looking absolutely magnificent in his royal outfit, and everyone's super impressed. August kneels before his father, King Diziem, but as the king is reading the oath, a messenger bursts in yelling that demons have attacked the kingdom of Swede. The crowd freaks out, thinking they might be next, but August calms everyone down, telling them they have nothing to fear because they have demon hunters. He calls Shin forward and reassures everyone that together they'll go to Swede and defeat the demons. August finishes his speech, dramatically pulls his cape to reveal his combat uniform, and the others do the same. He tells Shin to say something to the people and put on a good show to make everyone feel better, plus come up with a name for their group. Shin gives his speech, but keeps stopping because he can't think of a name. Finally, he tells the crowd not to worry because the ultimate magicians will destroy the demonoids. The people go wild with cheers, though Lin's the only one in the group who actually likes the new name. For their big finale, Shin enchants their gear with floating magic, and the team rises into the air as the crowd goes absolutely nuts, then flies off on Shin's command. So check this out. Over at the Kingdom of Swede, soldiers are freaking out when they get the signal that demonoids are attacking. They're scrambling like crazy, while hundreds of these demonoid dudes are charging the city walls. And the demonoids try to bust through, but Swede's magicians throw up this epic magic barrier using gear that Shin enchanted. And the soldiers send for backup from Earlsheed, but everyone's stressing because that message is going to take days to get there. Meanwhile, Shin and the squad are flying to Swede, arguing about this lame name he picked for them, the Ultimate Magicians. As they reach the border, Shin lays out their battle plan. Olivia tells Mark she'll have his back and begs him not to do anything stupid, which makes Alice and Maria feel totally left out. Then Thor and Julius jump in bragging about being engaged too, which sends Maria into full rage mode. Back in Swede, it's absolute chaos. The demonoids broke through the walls and they're destroying everything. This woman and her kid are about to get murdered by 2 demonoids when Shin shows up out of nowhere and takes one down. The second demonoid tries to step up, but Shin blasts him into oblivion with one hit. Shin and Thor tell the woman they're backup from Earlshide and get her to safety. August gives this killer speech to the people of Swede, promising they'll drive out all the demonoids. He also warns the demons to bounce or face Shin's wrath. Everyone goes wild cheering. Shin tells Sicilian to stay back and help the wounded, and she tells him to be careful before running off. Lawrence is skulking around trying to figure out how powerful Shin really is. Alice and Lin team up to hunt demons and find one who calls them little girls. Alice tries to attack him all hot-headed, but Lin holds her back, telling her to chill or she'll mess up. Alice promises to keep cool, but when she turns around, Lin already smoked the demon. Then they hear someone screaming and run to help this soldier. A demonoid tries to blow him up, but the girls block it with magic barriers. The demonoid calls them little girls again, and Alice loses it, straight up incinerating him with a fireball. They try to help the injured soldier get to Sicilian, but he's he's too embarrassed and takes off on his own. The demonoids keep pushing forward, murdering soldiers left and right. Thor and Julius tag team one of them, slashing his thigh and neck. Thor asks why regular folks from the Empire would turn into demons, and the dying demonoid rants about how nobles starved them and took everything, leaving them with nothing but hate. Julius finishes him off and swears to end all of them. Two demonoids are having a blast after killing soldiers when Yuri freezes one with ice magic. The second one tries to attack her, but Tony slices him down in one hit. Over at the aid station, two demonoids try to cause trouble but run into Mark and Olivia. One charges at Mark, but Olivia drops a massive rock on him. When the other one goes for Olivia, Mark burns him to a crisp. One of them somehow gets back up, but Mark and Olivia blast him together. Inside, Sicilian is healing everyone and giving orders like a boss. Shin is taking on dozens of demonoids by himself. He's literally challenging them to come at him, and they're getting wrecked. Lawrence keeps watching from the shadows, completely mind blown, wondering where Shin gets his crazy powers from. He remembers something Strom said about Shin, and wonders if the dude even has any weaknesses. August and Maria are wrapping up when this guy Fabro, the demonoid leader, rolls up talking mad trash. He threatens to take August's head and make the ultimate magicians run away. August asks if he's the big boss, and when Fabro says yes, August promises to end him. Alice sneaks in an explosion attack, but Fabro doesn't even flinch. They trash talk each other until Fabro charges and hits Alice with everything he's got, but she doesn't even feel it. Alice brags about her enchanted uniform, but then Fabro grabs her wrist and throws her into a wall that collapses on her. August screams her name, but Alice rises from the rubble like a boss. Fabro realizes her uniform is magic enhanced and decides to target her face instead. Alice blasts Fabro with two massive explosions, but nothing happens. August notices he's using stolen magic gear with Shin's barrier. Fabro brags about taking it from a dead soldier. Alice and August go all out, hitting him with everything they've got. The barrier breaks, leaving Fabro exposed. While Alice distracts him, August attacks from behind and blows a hole straight through his chest. August thanks Maria for the support, and she happily credits Shin and Merlin's training. Looking at the magic gear remains, August feels bad for these Empire commoners turned demonoid, saying they might have had better lives if they'd been born in Earlshide. The King of Swede is chilling with Merlin and Granny Melida, relieved the fighting's over. Merlin and Granny say they didn't even need to step in, since the situation was handled so well. Lawrence talks to himself, shocked that all of the ultimate magicians are as powerful as Shin. Outside the walls, Zest realizes he totally underestimated Shin's power and asks Miria to help Lawrence and the remaining demons retreat. Just when everyone thinks it's over, boom, the gate explodes into flames, and Miria walks out of the inferno looking absolutely furious. More wounded people keep pouring into the aid station, and Sicilian's working overtime healing everyone, but it's totally draining her. Just when she thinks she can finally rest, this desperate woman rushes in, begging Sicilian to save her husband who's in terrible shape, coughing up blood everywhere. Without hesitation, Sicilian jumps in with her healing magic. Meanwhile, Miria's on a rampage as Shin senses her weird magic. She's trying to take out more soldiers when Alice and Lin swoop in with a magic barrier to protect them. Shin and Lin square up against Miria, and they quickly realize she's outmatched. Alice thinks she's got Miria cornered, but bam! Miria attacks her from behind. Alice hits the ground hard, but thankfully, her uniform takes most of the damage. As Lin and Alice keep hammering Miria with attacks, she pulls a fast one and grabs Alice, locking her arms behind her back so she can't move. Lawrence calls for the remaining demonoids to retreat when he sees Zest sent backup, but these stubborn demons refuse to leave. Big mistake. Shin starts raining down blue flames on them, and they finally get the message and make a run for it. As they're scrambling over the walls, Shin's like, nope, not today, and keeps blasting them with flames, taking out a bunch on top of the wall. When some demonoids jump over soldiers on the wall, Shin almost hits them, but pulls back his magic just in time. Then boom, an explosion somewhere else catches Shin's attention. Yuri and Tony see Miria's got Alice and rush in to help. Yuri throws a fireball at Miria, but she's clever and throws Alice right into its path. Alice manages to shield herself with barrier magic, but crashes into Yuri, sending both of them to the ground. Miria knocks Tony out with one hit, sending him crashing into a wall. As Miria goes for Tony, Alice puts up a barrier to protect him but leaves herself wide open. Miria seizes the chance and impales Alice to a rock, knocking her out cold. Just as Miria is about to finish off Yuri, a voice stops her. It's Shin. Looking around at all his beaten friends, Shin is furious. Lin warns him that Miria's tough, but he assures her he's got this and tells Yuri to take care of the others. The showdown begins. Miria attacks Shin, but he blocks with two barriers, leaving her shocked. He nearly slices her with his vibration sword, but only manages to cut open her dress. Miria realizes if she hadn't moved so fast, he would have cut her for real shins. No joke. August and the others arrive as backup, and Miria sees her chance to escape. Shin tries to warn them, but it's too late. Lawrence jumps in and traps them with sharp glass spikes. Miria launches explosive magic balls at them, but Shin creates a massive barrier to protect everyone. When the dust settles, Miria and Lawrence are gone, but at least everyone's okay. The team discusses Miria, with Shin expressing relief that Strom didn't show up or they'd have been toast. He's also worried about Sicilian. August tells everyone to stay alert for more demons. As the demons retreat, Miria tells Lawrence that Zest sent her to help them escape. Lawrence is pissed. They lost so many demonoids and underestimated Shin and the ultimate magicians. Creepily, Strom's watching from a distance as they retreat, seemingly reinvigorated by Shin's arrival. Shin and August rush to the aid station to check on Cecilian. They run into Mark and Olivia, who protected the place from demon attacks earlier. August tells them to call the rest of the team to help with healing. Inside, Cecilian's still desperately trying to save that injured man from before. When nothing works, she starts tearing off her uniform in tears, thinking its magic might help. Before she can strip down completely, Shin appears behind her and quickly puts her clothes back on. She sobs that she can't save him, but Shin promises he will. And with his healing magic, Shin fixes the guy in no time. August watches in awe, realizing he could never match Shin's power. Cecilian feels useless, but Shin tells her that her magic kept the man alive long enough for him to arrive. He points out all the people she saved earlier, who start calling her a saint, which makes her super happy. Later, August and King Swede discuss the demonoid attack and Strom. August can't figure out why Strom attacked Swede, but mentions that Shin beat him once before. He suspects something bigger is coming, and suggests an alliance between Earlshide and Swede. The king says he'll consider it, and August mentions an upcoming summit to discuss the alliance. The team agrees to protect the world together, and uses gate magic to return to Earlshide. They get a hero's welcome from the military, and news of their victory spreads everywhere. Ellie and May tackle August with hugs, while Deuxième, Merlin, and Granny Melida praise their bravery. Ellie hugs August so tight that poor May gets crushed between her massive boobs, which Alice and Lynn can't help but comment on. August reports to his father about the alliance plans, and Deuxième entrusts him to handle negotiations with other nations. Shin gets permission from his grandparents to travel with August. When Ellie and May demand to join, August refuses, but Shin says it's fine, the ultimate magicians will protect them. August reluctantly agrees. And that night in the Empire throne room, Strom scolds Zest, Miria, and Lawrence for going after Shin despite his warnings. Zest apologizes, but Strom actually found it entertaining, though he says they should have tried harder to win. It turns out Zest's plan to use Shin as bait to draw out Strom worked perfectly. Strom asks Miria about their other plans, and she says she's still working on them. The next morning, Deuxième sends August and the ultimate magicians off on their journey. Shin activates floating magic so they can all fly away. August carries Ellie in his arms, and she tells him he seems happier since meeting Shin as they soar off into the distance.